Last time I covered the mega mold with fiberglass that had epoxy resin instead of polyester. And although that hardened, it was a little more flexible than I wanted. So with that as sort of a protective layer over the silicone, I went back and covered it with polyester resin. And now I'm going to fill in any voids and stuff with this Great Stuff big gap filler. And this is the kind of spray foam you want to get for this application. Some of the other spray foams that don't say big gap filler will only harden in a fairly thin layer. And if you make a big thick glop of it and then sand into it or cut into it later, it'll still be goopy and soft on the inside, even though the outside has had a week or more to harden. This stuff hardens real nice overnight, and I could sand that much off of it. And now I have to separate the silicone from that glass shower door. And with only a little bit of struggle, it comes right off, leaving a glass smooth surface on this one side of the mega mold. I left some clay plugs on top of the hemispheres, and so that left these little holes that go all the way through the fiberglass and the foam and everything right down to the silicone. And the idea was that I could push on that from the back to separate stuff, but I've got the silicone a little bit thicker than would allow that on this particular mold. So eventually all of my originals did pop out. And this is what the mold itself looks like. This is all silicone that you're looking at, backed up by fiberglass and then spray foam. And since this is a gel coat layer, I'm pulling off any extra strands from bristles from the brush so that I don't wind up with that in the gel coat. I also mix the gel coat and let it sit until it's almost ready to harden, so that I don't have to keep brushing it out of the middle of this bowl for so long. And eventually it does harden and I can stop brushing it this way. The way I've been doing hemispheres recently has been to do the gel coat and then almost immediately lay up some chopped strand in it, because the gel coat, when it hardens, wanted to separate from the silicone. And with doing so many cavities like this, it's not ideal. So I think the next time I try this, I'm just going to try to gel coat the whole thing and hope for the best, and then lay fiberglass up over the whole thing. It separates from the silicone fairly easily. At least this one piece did. And now I'm laying up the far end. This winds up getting done in 3 sections, with that middle section being last. It's not ideal. There was some resin from the fiberglassing of the neighboring hemisphere that made a run, in a drip in this one, and I did see it and thought I'd wiped it off, but I didn't get all of it, and it winds up leaving a mark. And there's almost, if I had worked at it enough, I probably could have separated it by hand without the wedges. And it just falls out when I'm about to put that last wedge in. So this is what the part looks like. This is the back half of the speakers that would, there's that drip. And up here, well, there's the drip again. These spots up here are from jamming the butter knives in to get the original models out of the silicone. And I think that can be avoided the next time by using some release agent. All in all, I'd say this looks pretty good for a first part.